Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making these cute little raccoons. They are what I consider a no-sew body pattern, which means we do the arms and the legs first, and then we're going to start at the top of the head, and as we work our way down we're going to attach the arms, do the body, attach the legs, and then stuff and close. There's a lot of sewing on the face. We're going to do the muzzle, the nose, and then each of the mask patches is sewn on in 2 pieces. And then we'll have to sew on the ears as well, and any embroidery that we end up doing. For this video, I will be using a number 4 medium weight yarn, 4.25 millimeter hook, and 14 millimeter safety eyes. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you. And I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video. Also, any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, I think that's everything. So grab your yarn and let's get started. Okay, we're going to begin with the arms, and you can start any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be making a knot with a loop on the end as if we were going to chain. So all I do is I fold my yarn over, wrap it around my finger, go around and through with that loop, and then pull it tight, just big enough to fit my hook inside. So you're going to grab your hook. Grab your yarn and pull through, and then chain 1. And remember, this does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 8 single crochets into our loop over top of our tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just give your tail a little pull if there's a hole in the center that you need to close. Then grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 8 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 16. So increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Increase 3 and 4 in the same stitch. Increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, increase 11 and 12, increase 13 and 14, and our last increase 15 and 16. Row 3, we are just going to do 16 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoopsie, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 4, we're going to do 16 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 5, we're going to do 16 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 6, we're going to do 16 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 7, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and a decrease for 3. And just repeat that around. 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, 8, decrease for 9, 10, 11, and our last decrease for 12. Row 8, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 8. So 1 single crochet and 1 decrease for 2. Single crochet for 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, and our last decrease for 8. Row 9, we are just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now on our 8th one we're going to be changing colors, so we're going to insert to start our single crochet, pull up and through, and then leave those 2 loops on the hook, And then you're going to grab your main body color now. And we're just going to tie your old color and your new color together nice and close to the hook 2 or 3 times, or however many you feel you need to make it secure. And now we're going to cut our old color. Make sure you're cutting the right color. Many times I've cut the wrong one. It's no fun to have to undo your knot and redo your color change. And now you're going to grab your new color and you're going to pull it through those 2 loops left on your hook to finish off that 8th stitch of the last row. I'm just going to tuck these in to make it a little easier. Rows 10 to 18 are just going to be 8 single crochets all the way around, and I'm going to do those consecutively. So that is 9 rows of 8. 9 times 8 is 72, so I'm going to do 72 single crochets and flip my marker every time I hit a set of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm going to flip my marker, but keep on counting. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, flipping my marker, but keep on counting. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. Now we're going to add some stuffing, so we can take our stitch marker out if you used one. You're just going to grab a small amount of stuffing. Use your scissors or something similar to try and get that down into the bottom of the hand. And when we're doing the hand, I'm making mine on the flatter side, so I'm just kind of pushing it out to each side and not really overstuffing it too much, so it's kind of on the flatter side instead of round. And then I'm going to take another batch of stuffing and I'm just going to lightly stuff the arm. So a little bit down into the bottom and then evenly up the arm. So just like that. And then once you're happy with how much stuffing you have, we're going to reinsert our hook. And we're going to do 3 single crochets across through the front and the back of the arm. So we're going to go in the next stitch of our arm. And we're going to go in the last stitch in the back. And now we're going to do 3 single crochets across. So that's 1. Move over to the next stitch, front and back, that's 2. And our last stitch, front to back, that's 3. Then we're going to tie that off, leaving ourselves a little bit of a tail. Even though we're not sewing these in, I do something with them at the end to help keep them more secure. So if you are done your first arm, I'm going to be putting a screenshot over in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and do your second arm. And if you are done your second arm, just keep on watching and we will move on to the next part. All right, now we're going to start on the foot, and this time we are going to be making a chain. So you need to make your knot with the loop on the end. So fold your yarn over, wrap it around your finger, pull it down and around and through, and you want your loop to be just about the size of your hook so it'll fit inside. So insert your hook and we are going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to be starting our first stitch in the second chain. So not this first one just behind your hook, but this second one right here. We're going to start with 1 single crochet, which I'm going to be calling the end. And then we're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3. Now in this end we're going to do 3 single crochets and pivot around as we go so we end up on the opposite side of our chain. So 1, 2 in that same end stitch. As we're pivoting around, 3 in that same end stitch. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to put 2 stitches in this end stitch. 1 and 2. And then it should look like this. And again, grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to start over in this stitch over here. We're going to do 1 increase. So that's 2 single crochets in the same stitch on the end. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 3 increases around this end. Increase 1 and 2. Increase in the next stitch, 1 and 2. And increase in this last stitch, 1 and 2. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to do 2 increases on the next 2 stitches of the end. So increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch, and another increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch. So it should look like this now. Row 3, we're going to start with 1 single crochet and 1 increase on the end. 1 single crochet, 1 increase. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase 3 times around the end. So single crochet, 1 increase, 1 and 2. So that's once, single crochet, and increase. That's twice, single crochet, and an increase. That's 3 times. And now we're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase 2 times on this end. Single crochet, increase. That's once, single crochet, increase. That's twice. Row 4, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And as you're making these next rows, make sure that your foot is curving away from you so you're not doing it inside out. Row 5, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 6, another row of 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 7, we're going to do 6 single crochets, 6 decreases, and 6 single crochets for a total of 18. So we'll start with your 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now for our 6 decreases, you're going to want to do the invisible decrease. So you're going to grab the front loops of the next 2 stitches. So the front loop, come around and grab the front loop of the next stitch. Grab your yarn and go through those 2 front loops and pull up. Grab your yarn again and go through the 2 loops that are on your hook. And there's your invisible decrease. So that's once, front loop, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and pull through. So that's 2, invisible decrease. I'm not great at it either, guys, so that's 3, invisible decrease. That's 4, invisible decrease. That's 5, invisible decrease. That's 6. And then we should have 6 single crochets to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Row 8, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 6 invisible decreases, and then 3 single crochets for a total of 12. So 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to do 6 invisible decreases. So remember the 2 front loops of the next 2 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we should have 3 single crochets left to finish off the round. 1, 2, 3. Row 9, we're going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then on this 12th one we're going to change colors, so insert your hook, grab your yarn and pull up, leave those 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to cut my old color and then grab my new color, and again tie that nice and tight as close to the hook as you can, 2 or 3 times. And then grab your new color and pull it through those 2 loops to finish off the stitch of your last row. Alright, so rows 10 to 18 are just going to be 12 single crochets all the way around. And again, I'm going to do those consecutively, so that's 9 rows. 9 times 12 is 108, so I'm going to do 108 stitches and flip my marker every time I hit a set of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, flipping my marker, but keep on counting, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 97, 98, 99, 100, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we can pull out our stitch marker and our hook so we can add a little bit of stuffing. Alright, so grab a little batch of stuffing. Kind of see where the front of your foot is going to be. So that'll be where we made all those decreases. And you're going to put the first batch up into the toes. Then you're going to grab another little batch and you're going to kind of tuck it down into the heel. And I'm using the base of my hand here to kind of keep the foot flat. And I'm just pushing that around to give it the shape that I want it to have. Be careful not to stretch out these stitches where you decreased. And when you're happy with the foot, you're just going to put a little bit in the leg part, about 3/4 of the way up. So you want at least the top 3 rows to have nothing in them so that your leg will kind of go in a triangle shape. So when he's sitting, his little belly isn't going to make him flop over. And then when you're happy with how much stuffing you have, and just like the arms, we're just going to go across the top. We're going to do 2 single crochets, an increase, and 2 single crochets for a total of 6. So in that next stitch, and then in that last stitch, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, then we're going to do an increase. So that's 1 and 2 in the same stitch, and then we're going to do 2 more single crochets on the end. Whoop. Make sure you're going through the front and the back of both sides. 1, 2, for a total of 6. And then you're going to tie that off, leaving a tiny bit of a tail. We're just going to be tying these on the inside, so you don't need too much. So if you are done your first foot, I will be again leaving a screenshot over in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and do your second leg. And if you are done your second leg, you just keep on watching and we'll move on to the next part. All right, now we're going to be starting at the top of the head, and again, you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I will be doing my knot with the loop on the end, like you're going to be doing a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1. Remember that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 8 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, make sure you're going over your tail, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then pull that tail to close that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one, and for row 2 we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 increase, 2 and 3, and then repeat that around. 4 increase, 5 and 6, 7 increase, 8 and 9, 10, and our last increase, 11 and 12. Row 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1 increase, 2 and 3, 4 increase, 5 and 6, 7 increase, 8 and 9, 10 increase, 11 and 12, 13 increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, and an increase for 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5. Repeat that around. 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10. 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15. 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20. 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25. 26, 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30. Row 6, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, increase, 35 and 36. Row 7, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 42. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, increase, 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, increase, 20 and 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, oh my goodness, 26, increase, 27 and 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, increase, 34 and 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, increase, 41 and 42. Row 8, we're going to do 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 9, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 10, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 11, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 12, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 13, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 14, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 15, we are going to be doing 5 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease, 4, 6. And you can do invisible decreases if you prefer. It'll probably turn out better. I just am quicker at the regular ones. So next stitch, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and a decrease for 36. Row 16, we're going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and a decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30. Row 17, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Row 18, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, and a decrease for 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18. Row 19, we're going to add the arms, so get those ready. And I'm going to break the pattern up as we do it into parts across the top, and we're going to start with 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3. Now remembering that this is your back side and this is your front, you're going to grab your arm with the strings facing the front, And you're going to do 3 single crochets across through the arm and through the head. So through the arm, the next stitch of the head, so 1 single crochet, through the arm, through the next stitch of the head, that's 2 single crochets, through the arm, and the next stitch of the head. And then now we're going to do 6 single crochets across the front, and make sure you're going in the right stitches. It's really easy to go in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now grab your other arm, and remember, this is your front and this is your back. You want your strings facing the front, and we're going to do 3 single crochets through the arm and the head. Through the arm, through the next stitch of the head. That's 1. Through the arm and the next stitch of the head. That's 2. Through the arm and the next stitch of the head, that's 3. And then you should have 3 single crochets to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3. Row 20, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, and when you get to your arm strings, make sure they're staying on the outside so that we can use them when we get closer to the end. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and an increase for 3 and 4, and repeat that all the way around. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 21, we are just going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, oh my goodness, what's happening? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 22, we are going to be doing 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, and an increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, and an increase, 9 and 10. 11, 12, 13, and an increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, and an increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, and an increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and an increase, 29 and 30. Row 23, we are going to be doing 4 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and an increase. Why I keep going in the front loop? 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and an increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and an increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and an increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and an increase, 35 and 36. Row 24, we are going to be doing 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 25, we're going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 26, we are going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 27, we are going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 28, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 29, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 30, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. Remember, you can do invisible if you want. For 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and a decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30. Row 31, you're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8. 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20. Will be 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. And so far we should have something that looks like this. Okay, I'm just going to show you how to make sure your legs are centered across the front of your body. So you want to make sure you have your front side facing up. Use your arms kind of to center it out, and you want to fold this nice and flat. Ultimately, you want to have 12 stitches on the front for your legs and 12 stitches in the back, staggered across the row. Now, if you're left-handed, you may be doing this in reverse. I'll be starting on this side since I'm crocheting this way, and my first leg is going to be going in this stitch right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's where my first leg is going to start, and I'm just going to put a scrap piece of yarn in there to mark it off. We should have 8 single crochets going this way, and I believe 4 going the other way. Okay, so let's get our hook back in. And I'm going to break up this row across the top as we do it. So we're going to begin with 8 single crochets across. And remember, if you're left-handed, you may be doing it backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you should be at your marker. If you're not, go to your marker, and then once you get there, pull that out and grab your first leg. And you want your leg, the toes facing the body, because when you flip it up right, you want those toes to be facing up. Now we're going to do 6 single crochets through the leg and through the body. So through the leg, and then the next stitch of the body, that's 1, through the leg, and the next stitch of the body, that's 2, through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 3, through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 4, through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 5, through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 6. And we're just going to flip that string to the inside so we can tie it off later. And now you're going to grab your second leg. Again, make sure the toes are facing the body. And again, we're going to do 6 single crochets through the leg and through the body. So through the leg, next stitch of the body, that's 1, through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 2, through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 3, through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 4, through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 5, and through the leg, whoop, and the next stitch of the body, that's 6. And then flip that string to the inside and we should have 4 single crochets left. If you don't, as long as your legs are centered in the front, don't worry about your stitch count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's tie those together now and add a little bit of stuffing. Yeah. So all you're going to do is tie them a couple of times, lightly at first, because you don't want to pull your legs tight together here. You want them to stay where they are. So as you're tying, just slowly get a little tighter so when you pull, that knot doesn't slide. And then just give them a little trim. All right, now we're going to add our stuffing, and you want to have the head fairly firm. We are going to do a little bit of shaping up there. And if it's stuffed loosely, it's not really going to show like you want it to. So what I like to do is kind of get as much stuffing up in the top of the head as I can, and then just kind of hold the neck so I'm not stretching those neck stitches too much. Because if your stitches are stretching, most of the places are going to be around the neck and then the very bottom when you're closing. And we're going to put a little bit more in. And just kind of double check that it's staying on the rounder side. And if you're happy with the shape you have, you can put a little bit into the body. I'll be stuffing most of my stuffing in the body on the last couple rounds, just so it's easier for me to fit in the camera. But if you struggle stuffing it when you get too small of a hole there, you definitely stuff it as you go. We only have, I think, we only have 3 rounds left before we close. And if you're worrying about the eyes, I'm putting the eyes on after when we do the little patches. So don't worry that the eyes aren't on yet. Okay, let's get our hook in. And for row 33, we are going to be doing 2 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1, 2, and a decrease, for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, decrease for 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, 16, 17, and our last decrease for 18. Add some stuffing here if you need to. We have 2 rows left. Row 34, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 decrease for 2, 3 decrease for 4, 5 decrease for 6, 7 decrease for 8, 9 decrease for 10, 11, and our last decrease for 12. Now we only have 1 row left to close, so if you need to add stuffing, you need to do it now. And remember, when you're stuffing, you want the bottom here to be on the flatter side so that it will sit flat. So I just kind of squish mine out to the sides a bit. And I want to make sure the back of his bum is kind of a little bit more stuffed, and that will help prevent him from tipping over. I think that's enough. I'll get your hook back in. And for row 35, we are just going to do 6 decreases all the way around. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, come on, and 6 decreases. And then you're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch and tie that off. And then give it a trim just enough to sew that end in to close it up. All right, grab your darning needle. I'm going to take my stitch marker out. I don't need that anymore. And what you're going to do now is in the top loops of that last row you just did, you're just going to weave in and out around till you get to the other side. And you're going to give that a pull to tighten and close that little hole. And what I like to do is go into the next stitch to make my knot. And then I'm just going to put that down through the center and out the back somewhere. And if you can't remember the back and the front, remember your toes will be facing the front, because we don't have our eyeballs on there to remind us which side is which. And then we'll put these little strings in now as well. Again, you want to make sure you're on the front side. Your string should be on this side. And you're just going to go down in the last stitch where you attach them, the arms, and then flip it around out to the back in the center of the neck somewhere. And then you're going to do the exact same thing for the other side. Thread your needle on. Go into the last stitch where the arm joined, and you can come back out in that same spot where your other arm thread came out. Now you're going to give them one tie, keeping track of your ends. So you're only crossing them the once to tie them. Wrap them around the neck. Flip to the front. Remember, your toes are facing the front here. And now you're going to pull that tight and bring these arms and the knots on the end inside and forward. So just as tight as you feel you want them. And then once you're happy with that, we'll give it a better tie in the back. I don't think that went around. And then we'll thread those ends back on and in and out the body somewhere. So we're just going to go back down the same hole they all came out of. And then somewhere, I usually go up the bottom if I can reach. And we'll cut those ends. Okay, now we're ready to start on all the little face parts. All right, now we're going to be doing the muzzle, and you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing my knot with the loop on the end as if I was going to be making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1. Remember, that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 8 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then pull your tail to close up that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to do 8 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase, 9 and 10, increase, 11 and 12, increase, 13 and 14, and our last increase, 15 and 16. Row 3, we're just going to do 16 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Make sure it's curling away from you. Row 4, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 20. 1, 2, 3, and an increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, and our last increase, 19 and 20. Row 5, we are just going to do 20 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then we're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch and tie off, leaving enough of a tail to sew that on. You can take your stitch marker out. Now we're going to do the nose, and I'm doing mine in black. So you're just going to make your knot with the loop on the end, as if you're going to make a chain. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, chain 1, and now we're going to do half double crochets, and we're going to do 6 of them. So if you've never done a half double crochet before, it's basically a single crochet, only you yarn over first. So yarn over into your loop, grab your yarn, pull up, grab your yarn again, and go through those 3 loops on your hook. So that's 1, yarn over, 2, yarn over, 3, yarn over, 4, yarn over, 5, and our last one, 6, and then we're just going to chain 1 and then slip stitch into our loop and tie that off, leaving enough of a tail to sew that on and make our mouth. So leave a little bit extra if you need it. And we'll tighten that up and we'll pull our tail, our beginning tail, and I'm just going to trim that off just so it's not in our way. Okay, now we're going to make the ears. And again, you can begin any way you prefer. I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain one. Remember that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And going over top of our tail, we're going to do 8 single crochets into the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oopsie, 6, 7, 8. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1, increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, and our last increase, 11 and 12. Row 3, we're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 4, 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 5, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 15. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, and our last increase, 14 and 15. Row 6, we're going to do 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And now we can just take that out. We're going to fold our ear in half. And just like we did when we sewed up the arms and the legs, we're going to do 7 single crochets across. So we're going to do the first stitch, and then over to the last stitch. Oops, I didn't get through both. And just do that across 7 times. 1, to the front and the back, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoopsie, that was 6, and then just catch that last piece for 7. And you're going to tie that off and leaving enough of a tail to sew that on. Well, that was our first ear, and we need 2, so grab your yarn and we'll do our second one. And again, you can start any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, chain 1, remember that doesn't count as a stitch, and for row 1 we're going to do 8 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then pull that tail if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one, and for row 2 we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 increase, 2 and 3, 4 increase, 5 and 6, 7 increase, 8 and 9, 10, and our last increase, 11 and 12. Row 3, we're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whoopsie, and 12. Row 4, 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 5, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 15. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15. In row 6, 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whoopsie, oh my gosh, last stitch, of course, 15. All right, and now we're going to fold that just like we did the other one. And we're going to do 7 single crochets across, through the front, through the back. So that's 1, to the front and the back. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and catching that last one, 7. Then tie that off, leaving enough thread to sew that on. All right, we're going to do the dark patches of the eyes next because they're exactly the same, only we're going to flip this one around. And then when we get to the white, we have to start down here and go up. And then on the other eye, we have to start at the top and go down. So we'll do these two first, and then I'll show you how to do the white part after we have them done. Okay, so this time we will be starting with a chain. So you're going to have to fold your yarn over, wrap it around your finger, pull that loop around and through, and then pull up, leaving a loop just big enough to fit your hook in. And we're going to be chaining 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now starting in this second chain from the hook, you are going to start by doing 2 slip stitches across. So 1, 2. Then you're going to do 2 single crochets across. 1, 2. Then you're going to do 3 half double crochets across. So remember, you'll yarn over into your next stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through all 3 of those loops. So that's 1, another half double crochet, that's 2, another half double crochet, that's 3. Now in this end stitch, you're going to do 4 half double crochets and pivot around. So you start going over top of this tail and you end up on the back side of your chain. So half double crochet, that's 1, half double crochet, and you're pivoting as you go, that's 2, grab your tail, half double crochet, that's 3, all in the same stitch, half double crochet, that's 4. Now you're going to do 3 half double crochets across over top of your tail. 1, 2, 3. I'm dropping my tail now because it's a little longer and I don't want it to come out here. We can cut that off after. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and then we're going to do 2 slip stitches, 1, 2. Then I'm just going to slip stitch in this loose stitch where we started, just to keep that at a bit of a point. Then I'm going to tie that off, leaving enough of a tail to sew around this piece. Whoops. And we should have something that looks like this. We might as well cut this part off too while we're at it, I guess. Now we're going to make our second one, so make your knot with the loop on the end. Remember, just big enough to get your hook in there. And we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Starting in that second chain from your hook, we're going to do 2 slip stitches across, 1, 2, then we're going to do 2 single crochets across, 1, 2, and we're going to do 3 half double crochets across. Remember to yarn over, 1, 2, 3. Now we're in the end stitch here. We're going to do 4 half double crochets, pivot, and end up going over our tail. So 4 half double crochets, 1, 2, all in that same stitch, 3, and we're pivoting to the other side, 4. Now we're going to do 3 half double crochets across over our tail, 1, 2, 3. You can drop your tail now if you want to. 2 single crochets across, 1, 2, 2 slip stitches, 1, 2, and then just slip stitch in the end to leave that point. Tie it off, leaving a tail for sewing. And cut that little piece off too. All right, now we're going to do the white part of the mask, and we're going to make our knot with the loop on the end. We don't need much of a tail because we're going to be crocheting over top of it. Make sure your loop is just a little bit bigger than your hook. And you're going to insert your hook in between your 2 slip stitches and your 2 single crochets. So just behind the first single crochet, and then you're going to chain 1. Then you're going to do a single crochet in that same stitch, and make sure you're going over top of your tail. And now we're going to do 7 increases to get us over to the end. So increase, 1, increase, that's twice, increase, that's 3 times, increase, that's 4 times, increase, that's 5 times, increase, that's 6 times, increase, that's 7 times. and then we're just going to slip stitch in that same stitch and tie off. This is the piece that you're going to be sewing with, so you want to leave that long enough. All right, now for this eye, we want to be going this way, so we're going to be starting on the curved part in between the 4 half double crochets we made on the end. And we're going to be sewing with our beginning tail, so we want to leave a long piece at the beginning, make our knot with the loop on the end, just a little bit bigger than our hook. Insert, whoops, so grab your piece. So you're basically going on the very end, right in between those. So you'll have 2 half double crochets on each side of where you started. And you're just going to chain 1. And you're going to do another single crochet in that same stitch. Then we're going to do 7 increases down the rest of the way. So increase, that's 1, increase, that's 2, increase, that's 3, increase, that's 4, increase, that's 5, increase, that's 6, and our last increase, that's 7. And then on the end of the 7th one, I'm just going to slip stitch. And then we just need a tiny little tail that we're going to have to weave in. So we should have 2 pieces that look like this. And then we'll just weave in this one side. So this is the back side with the point going that way. And I'm just going to put it through a few stitches and then give it a cut. If you want to weave it in better, you sure can, but just for the video, I'm just going to do the one time, because we're going to be sewing over top of this anyways. So that should, I just won't cut it too close, so we can tuck that down if we need to. All right, now we are going to sew the nose onto the muzzle. So grab your pins and your darning needle. And we're going to line it up so that our string is down. This is going to be the bottom of the muzzle, and then we want our nose to be just above the starting loop hole and just below the top 2 rows. Then we're just going to pin that. Maybe you want to put a couple on the side to pull that out. You want to make sure they're going across and not down, or you're going to have a heck of a time with all the pins trying to get all your strings through. So once you feel that's pretty secure, thread on your black or whatever color you've chosen for the nose. And you're just going to start by going down, kind of underneath the nose, and then coming up a stitch over into the next stitch. And just make sure you're not going in the same stitches, or it'll basically make that last stitch you just did pointless. And watch you're not catching your bottom string. And you're just going to go up and down through every stitch of the nose. Kind of making sure it's staying in place as you're going around. Catching that one pin here. And make sure you're staying underneath the black of the nose so you don't see those stitches. And just kind of keep checking that it's staying where you want it. The goal here is to kind of have it rounded on top and then flat on the bottom. Oh, I almost went the wrong way. Make sure you're not going in the same stitch. Then when you get back here, you might want to just kind of pull these two stitches together. Just like that. And then you're going to come back up in the center. That's not quite the center. I'm going to go up the nose. I just want to make sure I'm in the center of the nose. And then I'm going to come down about one row. So I'm just on the other side of my starting loop. Make sure it's straight. And then we're going to start the mouth. Then if you're happy with that line, you're going to come down. Mine's going to be kind of a bit of a frown. So I'm going to come down 1, 2 rows, and then I'm going to come back into here to kind of make a V shape. I'm going to go back in that same stitch. And now I have to match this on this side. So I'm going to try right about here. You may have to do this one again, so just don't do it too tight. I think that'll work. Go back in that same stitch. And then there's your little mouth. And then I'm just going to tie these two together, my two tails, loosely at first, and then a little tighter as I go so it's secure, but not pulling the stitches. And there's our little muzzle. Now before we sew that on, I just like to mark where my eyes are going to be, because I'm going to use the bottom of my eyes to put on my muzzle. So starting in our first loop on the head, we want to go between rows 9 and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right between rows 9 and 10, into a stitch, not in a hole. So just like that. That is where I am putting my center. Just double check. Use your arms and your top loop to make sure you're in the center. And then I'm going to grab an eye, and from that stitch, I'm going to count 4 holes over. So the first hole, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where one eye will go eventually. And then the other side, 4 over from our pin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just double check that they're even to you. And then I'm just gonna kind of open up that hole a bit so that when I take these out, I know where I had them. Now, if you're not using safety eyes, you can just put pins in or some pieces of yarn. And just remember, your eye, or the muzzle is going to line up one row down. So this row underneath where your pin is. And we can leave that pin in there now too. That might help. All right, grab your nose and muzzle and add a little bit of stuffing. You just want to have it so it's just inside and not popping too much past, so it's nice and flat. And you really want to double check that you're putting this on straight now, since we do have the nose. So one row down from where the eyes end and where that pin is where we're going to start pinning our nose. And you may want to put a pin or something down inside. It doesn't want to go. There we go. I'm just going to put that in there for now to help it from moving anywhere else. Then I'm just going to start pinning a couple in the top. And then wherever it falls naturally on the bottom. So I'm about 1 or 2 rows up from where the neck is. Whoops, see, I got a little crooked there. I just make sure that's straight. You always want to keep checking. Double check that it's straight and then start pinning on the sides. And I almost put a pin in every stitch when I'm pinning, just so I know it's not going to move anywhere on me. And keep very close attention right where your eyes are, that you have the same amount of space. So you're not pulling that over when you get there. I think I need a couple more pins on the side. This one isn't in very good. Okay, so maybe I'll put a couple in the top here, since that is where I end up going crooked sometimes. Okay. Now you can leave your eyes in now or take them out. That's up to you. Mine should stay in there. If not, I'll worry about that after. And then another trick I've learned is if you elastic band the arms down, it's a little easier to keep them out of your way if that string would stay out. Okay. All right, thread on your white for the muzzle. And now we're just going to be going up and down through each stitch and grabbing a piece of the head. So to begin, you're just going to go underneath the muzzle, around a stitch, and come out. And then you're going to go up the next stitch in that row. Then you're going to go down the next stitch and around a stitch in the head, and make sure you're staying underneath the white of your muzzle, and then your stitches aren't going to show. Back up the next stitch. down and around a row or a stitch. And see how my nose isn't moving at all because I got pins just about everywhere. And back up the next stitch in the row. And you're just going to continue doing that all the way around, down and around a stitch or a row, staying underneath. Be careful when you get here because you want to keep that nice and straight. And when I'm on this top part, I try and make sure that I go straight across the line of the row that's underneath in the head. All right, this is my spot where I usually tell you a few things. For one, if you ever want to share any of your creations with me, I have a Facebook craft page and the link is down in the description. You can go there and find the YouTube share post. And if you click on that, it will open up and you can leave a comment or a photo. You don't have to join or follow in order to do that. And I also have a link for TikTok and Instagram, but as much as I wish I could do better at those, I pretty much only go there to load videos, to kind of advertise my YouTube videos. So I rarely, have figured out how to check out notifications. So I might not see it there, but I will definitely see it on Facebook. As well as any links I think that kind of you might be interested, or other videos that I have. And I've recently started putting the colors and yarn types down there as well. I don't know if I should say this part or not, but I have started putting my address down there as well. I don't know if there'll be any interest in doing some kind of a mail thing later in the future or not. But if you are totally out of the social media game and you wanted to send me a photo of something you made, there is an option that you could do that. Now I'm just back around to the bottom, so I'm just going to tie my knot here if I can find my thread I need. There it is. In the future I might do like a mail day or something, and I share mail I got, but I mean, I don't know if I'd get one piece of mail, no pieces of mail, 100 pieces of mail, but it is there. Okay, so now our nose is on. So we can take this out now. And I'm just remembering that I'm using a metal hook, not a plastic one. I'm just going to fluff this up a bit from where I smushed it down. There we go. All right, now you're going to grab your ears. And again, we're going to kind of use the eyes to center those. Make sure your arms are straight up and down, because I use the arms as well for the sides. And again, we'll use some pins. Let's use yellow this time. So starting in our loop again, this is row 1, row 2, and right in between row 2 and 3, we're going to put our pin kind of even with where our arms are. We're going to do that on the same side. Just go over 1, 2, and then down. Kind of check that they're even. And then we're going to go on the sides, and we're going to go 7 rows down. So where our pin is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And see, we're centered from the top down to about the center of our arms. And using my eyes, I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes behind my eyes. Okay, and we'll do the same thing on this side. 7 rows down. So where our pin in is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then again, I'm going to count from my eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to come up to that 5th stitch and just have a look again that they seem even to you. And then we're going to grab our ear. And we're going to take our needle and we're going to go behind that first pin up top, around that stitch, and up through where we pinned. So just like this. You can get rid of that pin now. That'll be the first stitch of our ear. And then you're going to go in the first stitch on your ear. Sorry. Now, keeping in mind you want to go down to this pin, you're going to go around the next stitch in the next row, through the next stitch in the ear, down and around the next stitch in the next row, keeping in line with that pin, in the next stitch of the ear, down a row, around a stitch, through the next stitch of the ear, down around the next row and a stitch, in the next stitch of the ear, down around the next, actually I might go back one, next stitch of the head, next stitch of the ear. And that puts us where we put our pin. So I'm going to go behind that pin and come out where the pin was. And in that last stitch of the ear, so there's 7 stitches in the ear and 7 rows down. And I always go around this last one twice for security, and then go up a touch just to pull that down and in. And then I'm going to go up 1 more stitch and out the back. And then we'll just give it a tie here. We're going to put that in nice and close. We don't see that knot. And somewhere kind of even in the back of the head, even with the bottom of the ears, or where you just tied your knot. So about like this. Alright, now we'll get our second ear and thread that on. And just like the other ear, we're going to go behind the pin and then up through the stitch that the pin is in. And in that first stitch of the ear. Now again, remember you're going from this down to this pin, so you want to keep that in line as you're going around. So you're going down a row. Sorry, it's hard to hold this in the camera view here with one hand. And then in the next stitch, down a row, around a stitch, through the next stitch of the ear, down a row, around a stitch, through the next stitch of the ear, I'm starting to go back, so I want to make sure I'm staying in line with that pin. Down a row and around a stitch, next stitch of the ear, down a row and around a stitch, next stitch of the ear. Now we're back at our pin here, so we go behind our pin, around the stitch that our pin is in, and then in that 7th stitch on the ear. And if you did it 2 times on the other ear, you want to do it 2 times on this ear. Go up a little bit and catch that kind of bumpy out of place part there. And then that should pull it down and in. Go up a stitch or so and out the back so we can tie it. And again, just like the other ear, you're going to go down right behind the ear and then out in your last, where your last string came out. Now, just like we did for the arms, you're going to take these off so we can sit now. We're going to do 1 tie. Turn them around, keeping track of those ends. And then you're going to pull those ears in, and it'll kind of give him a bit of a point at the top of his head and push his cheeks out. And he's going to look a little funny just yet, but remember we're going to do a few things around here too. And that will relax a touch over time. And then we're just going to tie it in the back. We thread our needle, and then hide these ends down inside somewhere. Okay. All right, now we're going to do the mask for the eyes. And to start off, we're going to do the one that's going this way. So we've got our white strings up here at top, and we got our black strings and our point down at the bottom. And we're going to put our eye in first. So if you're not sure if you can keep track of where that eye was, just put a pin in there. And our eye is going to go in the hole we made when we did all 4 of those half double crochets around the end stitch. So we're going to insert our eye in that hole and then put the back on. Nice and tight. And then we're going to insert the back of our eye now into the hole. And we're going to pin it so that we have 2 stitches between the nose and the top of our little eye mask. So I'm going to pin that right there. Then I'm going to go up 2 rows and 2 stitches and pin that there. So we have that little bit of a space. I want mine to be straighter. I'm going to move it over a touch. And then we're going to just let this fall around the mouth. So there's no specific stitches we're going to go in, no place where it's going to end, just wherever it kind of falls naturally. And then when we get to the other one, we'll kind of try and match the bottoms up. So I'm going to put a pin down there, hold that. And I'm going to start putting pins up and around here. So maybe a pin or two in the bottom so we don't pull that. I don't want black ones. And then a couple of pins up and around so this stays nice. Just basically to hold it in place as we're going around. So we want this white one to stay out of our way. And we're going to put on our dark one onto our needle. And I went this way first to make sure I had a nice tight stitch here, and then this can kind of pull as you go. So to begin, we're going to go under and come back up the first stitch. And then we're going to do just like we did the muzzle. Some stitches you may be able to go down and up the next stitch. Just make sure you grab the head, but I seem to have to go around a stitch and come out. Even that's getting tricky. Around a stitch. Why won't it let me come out? There we go. We want these two to be meeting up, the white and the black touching. I'll fix that later. And then you come up the next stitch. Down the next stitch and out. Just make sure you're always catching a piece of the head when you're going down, and that you're coming up the next stitch all the time. Then when you get here, you want to make sure you get this nice and tight and kind of twist up, because your next stitches are going to be going up. And if you have to go in that same stitch twice, that's fine. I think I'm going to, just so it pulls over a bit. And I'm just going to move this one pin up into my white so I can get a good grip in here. I'm going to go around this one too, just so it stays where I want it. Then I'm just going to go up and down in every other. Oh, I don't have a piece of the, there we go. So I'm going over and under just into the next hole where we have the increases. And then we just want to get down in here. I'm going to start going around again and out so I can get in the stitches I need to. When you get to the point, you're just going to come out in the center under his neck, and we're going to tie each side together there. So just let that hang out there for a little bit. And then we'll do the white now too. And I almost debated not even sewing the white part and brushing it, but I think I decided better of it, and that maybe I should just make sure I have that tacked down. So I'm going to go down underneath and around. Come up in the point of that first one. So if you had a knot here, you want to try and pull it down. And then now you're just going to go down and up. And I was not picky about this. I went about every 2 stitches instead of every stitch. So I'm going down, grabbing, and coming up about 2 stitches over. Because it is sewed right beside it with black. So it's not like it's going to come off. Just make sure you're keeping the shape you want. There. I mean, you can go in every stitch too if you want. That's totally up to you. I just know there's a lot of sewing on this face part, and I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier. And then when you get down to this one, again, you're going to do what you did here, and you're going to come out that same hole if you can. There we go. So there's one side. All right, now we'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we have our white string on this side and our black on this side. And we're going to put our eye in. So again, right where those 4 single or half double crochets were, right in that hole. Put your back on. Now we got to pin this to match the other side. So here's where my eye hole is, if you can see that. I didn't pin this side. So we want to get that in there and pin our 2 stitches of lines there. This one seems like it should go a little bit more this way. There, that's better. So see, we ended our black here. We want to make sure our black ends in the same row we ended on the other eye. And then we'll just let it naturally fall, how we did on the other side. Kind of see that it's even on both bottoms, and then give it a pin. And then we'll pin around. Don't worry that it's looking a little funny. It will. We still got to put the, still got to bring our eyes together in the center once we get this part done. All right, I think that's enough pins. So grab your black or your dark color. And again, you're going to go down underneath. And for some reason, when I do this side, I can never get it back in the stitch. So I got to come out and then go in. Sorry, I keep taking it out of camera view here. Someday I'm going to figure out a better way to get a better angle on this. Alright, so now we're just going to sew up and down like we did on the other one. Keeping it nice and close. So there's no space there. Make sure you're always catching a piece of the head. before you come up. Oops, I should put my elastic back on. For all of you that are staying here and watching and doing this part with me, thanks, because I know there's a lot of sewing. But if you did skip ahead, there is some things of importance you might have missed, so I'm glad you stick with me here at this part too. And sometimes it's just fun to do stuff together instead of by yourself. Okay, so remember we're in the corners here. We want to make these straight to kind of match. See how this one's curving over a bit? So I want to kind of pull it again and put another stitch in there, just so it stays more straighter. And then we're just going to go up and down here. I don't know if I have a... Make sure you catch that head. Alright, we're getting back to the end of our darker part. So I'll just go in a couple of times on the bottom and then take it out. Where our other black thread is. I'm just going to go back up and then down to join with the rest. Out that same hole. Hope you guys aren't struggling as much as I am here. Okay, now we'll do our white string. So this one you can see the knot really well here. So I want to make sure I get down and come out and pull that knot around if I can. There we go, kind of. And then I'm going to take this piece and kind of bring it over so it kind of comes to a point a bit and hides where I have that knot. There we go. So see, they kind of match now. And then make sure you're over a stitch and then just do like you did on the other one, a couple of stitches and up. Down, go over, catch the head, go over a couple of stitches and come up. Down, catch the head, go up, oops, see that's where I tied or weaved in that end. We want to make sure that's not poking out. And one more time, looks like. And then again, you go down. Make sure I'm not in the same spot here. And then come out where all your other strings are out. just going to take these ends and I'm just going to tie mine together. Pull them tight. You can, if you want, try and make this come in. Doesn't make too much of a difference, but if you did them separately, it might. And then once they're tied, we are just going to put them through the back. Whoops, I did that wrong. I'm making my own little yarn stitch marker here. So I'm just putting my ends through there. There we go. Oh, I said stitch marker, I meant, oh, why can't I think what it is now? And then just bring them out the back. Oh, I know this is feeling like a lot, but we're almost done the face. We just got to put his little eyes together. And if you want to give him whites under his eyes, I don't know if the gray one needs it as much as when I did black for the mask. Give those a trim. All right, now you want to grab a scrap of whatever the darker color in your mask is and thread that on. And you're going to go in the center of the nose or his forehead, and you're going to come up just inside the center, inside of his eye. So just like this. Leave about half your thread on the other side. If you can, wrap it around the eye. If you can't, just go one stitch down on a 45-degree angle, which is where we're going now. And then you're going to come down and match that about 45 degrees angles from the eye. My thread is just not cooperating today. Then if you can, wrap it around your eye. Again, if you're not using safety eyes and putting your own eyes in, you'll just be doing like we did on this side. So instead of wrapping it around, you're going to go right to the inside center and then come out where you started. And now what you're going to do is you're going to kind of pull these together and down at the same time as you tie this. I don't know which way it goes, this way. So kind of push them in. Careful not to break your yarn as you're doing this. And if you're happy with where they are, I'm going to give that a tie. I feel like mine could have been a bit closer, but my yarn was not cooperating. And we're going to thread those on and out the back. Just anywhere. You may have to fix that little hole there. I got a couple places I gotta fix after. You definitely don't see the dark gray as nicely as you do the black, but that's okay. Now if you want to put whites under the eyes, grab a scrap of white, thread your needle. Now I put mine kind of under because if you put them up here, it kind of blended in. So I'm going to come to the side of the eye and go around all the way to the other side of the eye. And that is going to be the top of my white. So you're only going to pull about halfway through, leave some on the other side, and then you can kind of see where you want that before you put it in. So I'm going about a 45-degree angle on this eye, and I'm going to come out up through the center just like we did with the when we shaped the eyes together to pull them tighter together. But this time you want to pull this loosely. You don't want that to slide under the eye. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you just want to kind of double check that they're the same. And then come up where your other piece went out. Again, careful not to pull this tight. And if you're happy with that, I'm just going to loosely tie this and put it through the back. So fumbly today. Now gently pull that because you don't want to pull the whites under your eye. And once you have it just inside, again with a metal needle, you just kind of fix that so there's no space there. Okay. Oops, I'll just slip that in. All right, now we just have the tail to do. Okay, now we are going to start the tail, and you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing the knot with the loop on the end. So I insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1. Remember that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we are going to do 9 single crochets into the loop over the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 9 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 18. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, increase 11 and 12, increase 13 and 14, increase 15 and 16, and our last increase 17 and 18. Row 3, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 4, we're going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and on our 18th stitch we're going to stop and we're going to change color. So we're not going to finish off that stitch. So grab your new color and we're going to tie that on nice and tight, as close to the hook as we can get it. Two or three times. And we're not going to cut this string because we're going to be changing back and forth. So we're just going to let it hang down there for now. Grab our new color, pull through, and finish off that last stitch of the last row. Row 5, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 6, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 7, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th, and our 18th, we're going to go in and come out and not finish that stitch so we can change our colors. So we're just going to grab our darker color or whichever color you're using and then pull that through to finish off that row. Row 8, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 9, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 10, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, whoopsie, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and on our 18th one, we're not going to finish off that stitch because we're going to change color. So we're going to grab our other color and pull that through those loops to finish off that last stitch of the row. Row 11, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 12, another 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 13, another 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then our 18th ones, we're just going to grab our yarn and pull up because we're going to change color. So we're just going to grab our other color, pull that through, and finish off the last stitch of the last row. Row 14, we're going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15. Row 15, we are going to do 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Row 16, we are going to do 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and on our last stitch, our 15th, we're going to pull up and leave those loops on the hook so we can switch our color again. We'll just grab our other color and pull through. Row 17, we are going to do 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Row 18, we are going to do 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Row 19, we are going to do 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and on our 15 one, we're going to grab and pull up. We're going to change our color on this row. So grab your other color, pull that through those 2 loops on your hook to finish off that row. And now we have about 5 rows left. So if you need to stuff as we go now, you can do that. I'm going to wait till the very end, and we'll have 9 stitches at the end. So I'll let you decide if you need to stuff now or at the end. So for row 20, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. Row 21, we are just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 22, we are just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and on our 12th one, we're going to grab and pull up, and we're going to do another color change, only this time we are done with our color we were just using. So we're going to cut that, and then we're going to tie that to our other color that's left. Nice and tight, close to the hook. And then grab that color and pull it through. Row 23, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 9. 1, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, and a decrease for 9. Row 24, we are going to do 9 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're going to add our stuffing. If you haven't already, I'm going to get rid of my stitch marker. And I didn't stuff mine too firmly, just enough so it would stand up. think that's enough. So once you're happy with how much stuffing you have, you're going to insert your hook. And we are going to do 4 single crochets across. So in the next stitch, in the last stitch, 1 single crochet through the front and the back, 2 single crochets through the front and the back, 3 single crochets, and just on that very end, 4 single crochets. And then just leave a little bit of a tail for sewing that on. All right, grab your guy, and you're going to need your darning needle. Let's thread that on. And I put my tail up fairly high because I want it to show on the other side. So just kind of see where you want it to fall. And that's about where you want it. The most important part is to have it in the center. So kind of between the ears, between the legs. And I am probably, it's hard to tell where my first row is, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Around row 7 or 8. I'm going to go up to row 8. I'm just going to go around a row and then through the first stitch, around the next row, over, through the next stitch, around the row, through the next stitch. Oops, sorry. Whoops, I didn't go around the row. Around the row, and then in the last stitch. And if you want, you can go back and forth a couple of times. I'm just going to go around this row a second time. Depends how much you think your little tail is going to be moved around. So if it's a gift for a young kid or something, you probably want to add a few extra stitches. If it's just sitting on your shelf, it's going to be good just like this. So I'm just going to tie a knot now. And I've only been doing 1, but you can do 2 or more, however you feel. And then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to cut mine off. But if you want to have yours permanently up and to the side, then you're just going to tack around a stitch here and then tie it off. And there we go. Cute. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. And don't forget to check down in the description for any info or links that I think you might be interested in. And as always, take care, be safe, and happy crocheting.